We got Seahawks lose to Rams, man. The Seahawks lose to the Rams 16-23. So are the MVP chances over for Russ? Keith, I'll let you start it off.
Russ definitely had a bad game today against the Rams,
Mm.
with a kind of choppy secondary over there, and he threw, I think, two picks, fumbled the ball again. Uh, I don't know. It depends on how well he bounces back in his next. In the second half of the season. I still definitely see him as a front runner for MVP, depending on how what happens in the second half of the season. But you got to let Russ cook.
Yeah, that's right. Brandon?
I don't want to say that he's the favorite, honestly, anymore. I think Kyler Murray has had two two really good games. And the last time they played the Seahawks, he outplayed Russell Wilson, like just straight up outplayed him. And Russell Wilson has turned the ball over 4 times in the past 2 games. That's not good. That's not MVP style play. But he was playing at that level prior to. I think his schedule is really tough coming up for this last half of the season. So he can, if he plays really well, obviously, in these games, win the MVP because of the higher level teams that he's having to play. But I think Kyler Murray is making it close. I think it's a close call. And Patrick Mahomes is flying under the radar. He's playing really, really well. Uh, Obviously had a bye week this week, so he didn't get to go out and put up some numbers to keep himself in the conversation this week. But those three guys are my picks right now.
Definitely agree with you. Honestly, I don't know why Pat is flown under the radar. I mean, like he's in there. Like his team's doing great. He's playing great. He doesn't turn the ball over. Like he's literally playing so great. I don't know why he's under the radar, but yeah, I have no idea why. He's in my top three. My number two is Kyler Murray, and my number one is Aaron Rodgers. And just because I feel like he's doing more with less. He's in Green Bay. He has Devontae Adams. I mean, yeah, I know that, but who's his number two receiver? Scantling. I don't think Scantling is a good number two receiver. I think he'd be a number three on any contending team, or maybe a number four if he goes to the Chiefs. But like give if you give Aaron Rodgers D Hop, see what happens. If you give Aaron Rodgers Stephon Diggs like Josh Allen, see what happens. If you give Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, see what happens. Like just so many things I just see him doing more with less. So that's why he's my MVP. But yeah, I think Russ. I don't want to say the MVP talk is over because he could go out here and just go ballistic and jump right back in it. But he's my fifth right now. He's behind Pat, and then I got Tom Brady in front of him. So these past few games haven't looked good for him, and I hope he picks it up because I'd love to see him win the MVP finally, or at least get a vote. But we'll see what happens. Colts trounced the Titans 34-17. Are the Titans breaking down? Because a few weeks ago we were talking about them being maybe Super Bowl contenders. Brandon, what do you think?
I actually don't remember exactly what I said, but I'm pretty sure I didn't say that they were Super Bowl contenders. I think that I said that they could win a couple games in the playoffs, but just because of how their team is built, they're not prepared to like go out and throw the ball a bunch if they get down. They're a team that needs to have the lead and be able to run the ball 30 times with Derrick Henry to win games and rely on their defense. And their defense has had some injuries, so it's tough for them. And I think that everybody thought that they would have a really good pass rush with the signing of Jadeveon Clowney, but he just hasn't produced like they thought he would. And uh, their offensive line has had a couple injuries too, so it's harder for Derrick Henry to get yards and keep them in games without having to throw the ball as much. So I think I see them as a 10-6 team, like still a playoff team, still a good team. But the Colts just are a very very good team. They have the best overall defense in the league. I think maybe second to the Ravens. Um, and their offense is really good too. They have probably the best offensive line in the league, and Hall of Famer possibly in Phillip Rivers leading that team. I think they're a really good team. If they get a QB within the next couple of years, they'll be really really good.
Before this game, I was saying that I'd take the Steelers defense over them and put them at number 2. But after this game, I definitely would take the Colts defense over any defense in the league, even the Ravens, even the Steelers, even the Buccaneers. Like they showed out against a very stout running game with Derrick Henry. Um, you know, this Titans team, it's really hard for me to say that like they're not going to be, they might not be in the second round. Like the way they're playing and their ability to not be able to throw the ball effectively all the time. I mean, they got weapons. They got Corey Davis. They got A.J. Brown. They have the weapons for it. But it's all about Ryan Tannehill. If he has the conviction in throwing the ball and the ability to be able to say, all right, guys, our running game's not working because they know Derrick Henry's that dude. Guys, I'm going to get us there. I'm going to get us this dub. I don't think he's that guy. And especially since an elite defense just shut them down like that, every team's going to be watching tape on this. How did they do this? How did they do this? So I don't see it getting any better for them in the run game. They got to pick up the passing game or else I can see them getting exited in the first round. Keith, what do you think?
I agree with Jason about Ryan Tannehill having to pass the ball, but I really think that Mike Vrabel is a very, very good coach. He's going to clamp down. They made some very, very heavy special teams mistakes in their loss to the Colts.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
You're fine.
I don't think it's all on Ryan Tannehill though. Like I said, their offensive line has had a lot of injuries, and so they're not able to protect him whenever he has to drop back, and they're not really giving him a whole lot of time to throw. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's people like Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray who are running around making plays. So you just gotta go out and make a play. I know that's not really Ryan Tannehill's style, but if protection breaks down, you gotta move around and at least try and make a play.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just see him as a game manager, being able to make some of the right throws. But when it comes down to clutch time, I just don't think he has that ability to take his team to the promised land, like we've seen of other quarterbacks that we would call elite. Keith, you can go ahead and continue on what you were saying, man.
I was going to say the Titans really do definitely need to rely on the running game, and they have really two capable backs with Henry and I forgot what his backup was, but after they pulled Henry out of the game, he did really, really well.
Yeah, I can't think of his name either.
And I don't think their offensive line has done terrible ever since Taylor Lewan got out, but their defense definitely needs to step up and they have to fix their special teams issues. But other than that, I think that they have the potential to bounce back and get into the playoffs. However, I don't know how far they can get into the playoffs because of how heavy they're reliant on the run game. Because teams in the playoffs will get, if they have the chance to get ahead, they'll just keep stacking that lead, and I'm not sure Ryan Tannehill can take this team on a run on his own.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, we'll see what happens. I believe in him. I think he has good promise. I just don't know about that one aspect of his game yet. But somebody who I do believe in is Daniel Jones and them Giants, man. Those Giants beat the Eagles 27-17. Will the Giants win the division, man? Because now it's getting spicy between those Giants and those Eagles. I think the Cowboys are out. Washington's not going to win it. I think it's between the Giants and the Eagles now. So what do you think, Keith? I'm going to start with you.
I just need to bring up the dark horse candidate of Washington. You ruled them out, but Alex Smith had a really, really, really good game today. He almost broke 400 yards on his way back. On his first game back as a starter. And their defense is a little bit underrated. Chase Young had a really hot start, but he's kind of cooled off. But I think he can bring it up because Philadelphia, I don't know. They're getting healthy, but I see a lot of holes, especially in their defense. The secondary is getting a lot more healthy now, but I still see like a lot of mistakes. And Carson Wentz, he's he's really, really carrying this offense. I feel like he's the only one doing anything because they didn't really have a run game. And so I don't know. It's either New York or Washington for me, but that division is a mess.
Yeah, it is a joke, man. Like one of the worst the worst division in football history. But Brandon, what do you have to say about this? Do you think the Giants win the division?
I don't. I think they have a chance. I think it'll definitely. They have I think the Eagles and the Giants have a meeting in Week 16, I believe, and I think that's definitely that's going to be the deciding game. But the Eagles, uh, they do have a little bit of a run game. I mean, Miles Sanders had 17 carries for 85 yards, and Boston Scott, I don't know exactly how many carries he had, but he had over 60 yards rushing. So they're definitely getting healthier. Like he said, their wide receivers come back. I think this was Alshon Jeffrey's first game in like, I don't know, a year. But he looked okay. Jalen Rieger looked pretty good. I think the Eagles win this division, and like he said, the Washington football team, they are good. Their defense is good. Chase Young, he was off to a hard start, obviously, like he said, but he's so good that teams are already having to double team him. Like Aaron Donald, and so I think they have a chance with Alex Smith at the helm to make a statement. Terry McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. Their running back duo is actually really good too. I think with the right coaching, I think they could definitely win this division. Ron Rivera has been okay so far. Definitely is a more defensive minded coach, which is why their defense is really good. But their offense has to pick it up to win this division. So I still think it's the Eagles, but Giants and Washington are really close.
Yeah, man, for sure. Um, well, we'll move on to this. Who would you start a franchise with? A little segment for you guys just to make it fun for these young players. It's going to be a 25 and under thing. And I got a quarterback, I got a defensive player, I got a DB, I got a running back, an end, and I got a tight end. So 5 different positions for y'all to pick to start your franchise with. Thanks. All right. So we're going to start off with this: Kyler or Lamar. And Brandon, I'll let you start off.
I'm gonna take Kyler. He's just a better thrower of the football. Lamar, I think, is just a little bit better runner than Kyler Murray, not by much. But Kyler Murray can throw the ball downfield, and he can throw the ball. He's just more accurate with the ball, and I think Lamar is he's only really doing good because of the system. Like the system is built around him to be able to succeed. Like they have a lot. They just run the ball like 45 times a game, and that's what helps them win is keeping it on the ground and not having him to throw the ball. It's kind of like Ryan Tannehill. If they get behind, and he's not going to be able to bring him back because he just can't throw the ball down the field consistently. And so I'm going to take Kyler in this one.
I'm also definitely taking not definitely, but like I'm also taking Kyler Murray because, well, I'm going to start with Lamar. A lot of people compared him to Michael Vick, but I see more of Michael Vick and Kyler Murray because of the way he takes like shots downfield and he's willing to take shots downfield. I'm an AFC North guy and I've watched a lot of Baltimore and I haven't seen Lamar really take any of those shots, even though he has like a speedster in Marquise Brown. And Marquise Brown had things to say about that too. But I feel like Lamar is definitely a more pure runner rather than a passer. And Kyler Murray is definitely a better passer than Lamar. So he's the best of both worlds. And with what Brandon said, Lamar is succeeding in the system because John Harbaugh is a great coach and he's very well respected in the NFL because of the way he can adapt and do so many things with different personnel. So I'll go with Kyler Murray on this one.